Zambia has clinched a deal to restructure more than $6 billion in debts owed to other governments, a French official said on Thursday. It is a long-awaited breakthrough for what was the first African country to default on its sovereign debt during the global health crisis. Zambia's private sector creditors are expected to follow the public sector example and also agree to reschedule the $6.8 billion owed to them. The announcement was made at a summit in Paris aimed at easing the debt burden of the world's most vulnerable countries, while freeing up billions of dollars for climate finance. At the event, a deal was struck for a coalition of countries to provide $2.7 billion for Senegal to increase its installed capacity of renewable energies to 40% by 2030, according to President Macky Sall.
We think that if this money is gathered, we will be able to reach or even surpass this objective.
So my brothers and sisters, like I have always told you, debt is good, okay? Taking a loan can be a great thing if you understand why you are taking that loan and how you are going to use it. But be mindful, because too much debt is bad. Too much debt can make your life unlivable. Too much debt can bury you, so to say. And like most African countries are in a lot of debt. And I tell people every now and then that it's not just a matter of going out there and collecting this debt from whoever was willing to give. But Africa and Africans must understand what they invest this money into and how they can generate a significant amount of interest that will be used to pay back this money they've borrowed plus interest. Because if there's one thing so common in Africa, I have to say this and I have to be honest with it. If there's one thing so common in Africa, it's mismanagement. And people get angry when I say it, but it's the truth and I have to say it. Our African leaders are too selfish and greedy that they just think about themselves and their friends and their family, but not the country as a whole. Never the country as a whole. And that is why when they occupy the highest office in the land, that is the presidency, they take as much loans as possible and then they squander it on things that have no significance to the people. And after all, they will be gone in a couple of years. It will be the problem of the next government to try to resolve. African leaders must reconsider how they go about taking all this debt. African leaders must really reevaluate themselves, reevaluate the nature of their countries to really understand if the debt they are taking from these international creditors or international financial institutions is really helping their respective countries or just killing it. There is this article that is saying how Zambia is in a lot of trouble. And if care is not taken, they might go under. In fact, the authorities in Gambia are finding it very difficult, very, very difficult to have their loan restructured, to have their debt restructured, to make sure that they do not go under. In fact, they have defaulted in our previous payment. And if this keeps on going, it will be so bad for the country. So, let's get through with the article. The headline reads, Zambia dealt major setback as official creditors object to bond deal. Yeah, the creditors couldn't agree on what should be put in place or what should happen next. And so, Zambia is back to square one. And if you remember clearly, Zambia is like one of the most heavily indebted countries in Africa. They have taken debt from any single person or entity that is willing to give it to them. And let me ask you this question, okay? Would you consider yourself as someone who is very responsible when you take out debt and you cannot account for it? Would you consider yourself to be someone who is very responsible, financially responsible, when you go out there, collect these loans, and no one can say for sure what you've done with it? Couldn't you be held accountable if you took out a loan and people could not see what you've done with it? I mean, come on. Isn't it high time we put out some measures of accountability in place? Because these so-called African leaders have all taken us for a fool. We, the taxpayers, are left to foot the bills, to pay back these loans, whereby we do not even see what was done with it. We get higher taxes. We see our country being taken for granted. We see our resources being taken away, but we do not see, or we haven't seen what was done with the money that was borrowed from these creditors. Shouldn't we hold these leaders accountable? I mean, I'm just asking. Isn't it high time we do that? Because this is getting out of hand. This is really, really getting out of hand. So, well, let's continue. Zambia suffered a major setback in its debt restructuring efforts after the government on Monday said a revised deal to rework 3 billion of euro bonds could not be implemented at this time due to objections from official creditors, including China. Zambia and the country's official creditor committee and the International Monetary Fund had been at odds over whether the initial deal struck with a group of bondholders in late October offered comparable debt relief from bilateral as well as commercial lenders. The IMF approved a tweak deal, but official creditors again rejected it, Zambia said. You can now see how much trouble Zambia is in. And all this is as a result of just borrowing money here and there, just taking out loans here and there, just going here and there and taking loans for whoever is willing to give it to you. Like I have said before, and permit me say again, debt can be good if used wisely. But if used unwisely, it will be a nightmare for you. Even for us individuals, we understand when we are in so much debt and we are unable to pay. We understand the stress and struggles we go through. When you go and take a loan from a bank to invest in something you have no idea about, and at the end of the day, you lost all the money, you understand how difficult it is to pay back that loan and how stressful your life will become. I have seen many people kill themselves as a result of being indebted, so much so that they feel like it's better for them to just take themselves off. It's the same thing for a country. Ghana is facing the same situation. Kenya is going for another bailout. All these countries are finding it difficult because they took out loans and they have nothing to show for. They have nothing to show for. Because if they have used these loans in a very constructive and productive way, wouldn't these loans be generating incomes that would be used to finance it? If they have invested this money in something that was productive enough, that was yielding profits, would they still be going in for more loans just so they can service the last one? It looks like they have been running a Ponzi scheme where you take new money to service old money. That for sure looks like it. But you guys out there, share your thoughts and opinions with us in the comment section below. What do you think about the financial situation of Gambia? And what do you think could be done to make sure that Gambia does not find herself in a similar situation in the future? And what lesson can other African countries draw from Zambia? And do you think they are even willing to learn? Let us know in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. And please do not forget to like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, because that helps us a lot and we shall forever be grateful to you. So thank you for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.